here.
Okay.
And I've got it recording here. So,
Yeah.
all right, here we go. This is Dr. Adam Boonder with the Health Rebellion, and coming to you today with Tom Lowe. I'm super excited. I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I'll just tell you, anybody that's listening, we have, wow, like a pretty impressive man here with us today, and I'm super excited. I'm going to actually change the view of this as I'm recording. There we go. But I'm really excited just because, just for his passion in pursuing alternative treatments in this health and wellness industry and what he's done. So I'm just going to read this through. He is founder and president of the Society of Progressive Medical Education, SOPMed. And we're going to be talking about a lot of what his passion is for ultraviolet blood irradiation, and he'll explain what that is. I could give you bits and pieces, but this man is the expert, so we're going to let him do that. And then honestly, we're going to talk a little bit about like how he got into that field, what he's doing, but a little bit of his background, what is so cool. He is responsible for training hundreds of doctors. He's spoken around the world, not just in the US, from Japan, Ukraine, Spain, Guatemala. Those are just a few of the places that he's spoken. His device that he's actually created is in over 16 countries. Over 75,000 treatments per year are being done with his devices. I was reading through his bio, some of the things that he's come up with, from like software in hospitals to prevent like hacking and bio. I'm like, this man is amazing. He's currently working with over 350 physicians of alternative and integrative doctors, clinics around the US and the world. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Lowe, right there. So excited to have you here. So, Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of, what made you kind of move into the world of alternative medicine? Because I think even before some of your background, you were within administration at a hospital. Is that correct?
Actually, I ran a clinic for about a year, and it was focused specifically on this, but I worked with hospital bioterrorism back in that, doing some software design and safety things and training in that. So I've had a lot of different experiences, a lot of 16 businesses or so. So I got into this one 12 years ago.
Okay.
And 2 years ago, had a brain tumor, and that kind of fueled my interest in some of this. And he did live for many years and had a good life. He was a great Christian man. So it was hard to see him go, but it gave the impetus to try to find something else. And that's part of what happened. Another friend of mine who is working in Togo, Africa, worked with UBI, ultraviolet blood irradiation, and said, "Hey, Tom, this is really doing fantastic. We've cured rabies, tuberculosis," and he goes on. And I thought, yeah.
Right.
Doesn't really, I was in between businesses, if I could say it that way, and just trying to see what the next one was. But that was part of it. And I said, I'll spend a couple of weeks looking at it. And is that there was nothing out there that was negative on this, but there wasn't a lot, of innovation going on with it. So he came back to America. We started a clinic together. It was out-of-pocket pay, that is patients just saying, I've got a problem, a chronic problem that medicines haven't helped. So after we ran through about 500 people, it was quite a jaw-dropping to me as week after week, this is UBI alone, no ozone, just UBI, people were helped tremendously. And so that's kind of what got me started at it. And since then, I've developed the machine to be more effective, the cuvette to be more effective, the protocol to be a lot easier. And we continue to kind of grow in that, trying to find out what the best thing is and how to make that work.
So obviously you've had kind of your aha moments. Treating 500 patients, seeing people get better over and over and over again. Explain to people that are watching specifically, like, how does UVBI work? And how could it work for them in a way? If somebody's listening and you mentioned things from, rabies, some crazy things.
Yeah, they're crazy.
So some things that you've actually seen through training doctors, some different conditions and how the process actually works.
Okay. Anyone with a chronic disorder that hasn't been helped, unless it's a mechanical type thing, right. Any of the things where your immune system is off. So your immune system can be attacking yourself as an autoimmune,
right.
Or it can be low and it needs a boost. It needs to get going again. Those are the areas. So whether it's a viral or bacterial infection, whether it's some of the neurological things like MS, things like rheumatoid arthritis, allergy, asthma, rashes, the COPD, any of these things that work with inflammation or infection, UBI is a great treatment. It has virtually no side effects to it, and it has just a tremendous effect on a lot of people. Now, I say that, and I still say it's not a silver bullet.
Right.
It doesn't cure everything. But from our experience of the doctors I've talked with and taught, 70 to 80% who have had 4 or 5 treatments walk out and say, I am significantly helped. Wow. So simple treatment in the office, and this has changed over the years. We don't have to take a lot of blood anymore. 250 cc's used to be the protocol, and we've got it now. So you can take 60 cc's of blood, a little bit of heparin, and that's put in with some saline in a bag and allowed to drip back by the UV light. And the UV light is specific. There is UV A, B, and C, more C than that, anything. But that combination, along with some visible light, causes an immune modulation. It might create some reactive oxygen species, so we get a little bit of the ozone effect of oxidative slap, right. But also goes through the system then as it travels around, dropping that energy. It's picked up by the red blood cells. Now, it will dismantle bacteria and virus if the light hits it. And at one time, we thought we had a vaccine type response. And you'll hear that out there. After talking with Dr. Michael Hamblin, who is the Harvard really genius, who works with light and medicine. That's his whole life has been that. And he writes the textbooks. He's the guy who's published 350 studies on light medicine.
Wow.
And he is a great endorser of this treatment. We just talked a couple of weeks ago on COVID. And again, he's saying, yes, this should be used. We're looking at potential studies in the States, in the UK. We'll see if it happens. I always feel like, everybody's excited when there's a crisis, and then it fades away.
Yeah.
Would this work with COVID? Yeah, it should. It is anti-inflammatory, anti-infection, vasodilation, microcirculation improvement, oxygen uptake, all great things from cancer to COVID,
Right.
That's kind of the mechanism. Ask some questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you. That's incredible. But what I want the listeners and viewers to know is, we know that chronic inflammation really is that common thread through pretty much all disease. Whether it is cancer, whether it's RA.
You just, okay.
Oh, did I break up?
You did. You're fine now. You're back.
Okay. But that common thread, that inflammatory thread, and I one of the ways that I explain the UV light therapy for patients is I'm a huge Superman fan.
Okay.
I've always loved Superman. And I said, where does Superman get his power? He gets it from the sun, this UV light. And maybe I'm explaining it really, really wrong, but I'm like, it's not going to give you superhuman strength or power like Superman, but it does have some incredible restorative and healing potential responses within the body. And I think that's what a lot of people just don't understand. And most people haven't even heard of this, which is why I wanted to bring you on.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess if you were to simplify and just put down very quickly, like what this therapy does, and you even mentioned earlier, you said this is not with ozone, but just the UV light therapy alone, just to say, this is what it does in the body. This is what you could expect.
Yeah. Well, when you have a chronic disorder, you're immunocompromised. There's something wrong in your system. And how do you get that back? Now, obviously, if your diet is horrible and you never exercise and you're smoking and you're full of toxins, as you know, many of your listeners know, there's
lifestyle choices are important.
Yeah, all those things, chiropractic, all this stuff fits together. And
Right.
this is one of those areas where if they haven't tried this and, you know, they've done some of the other things, UBI is just a great complement and tool. The exact mechanisms are not known. There is writing on it. We do know it immunomodulation. If it's low, it kicks it up. If it's high, it brings it down. It's kind of like, you know, anesthetics. We don't have a good idea of how anesthetics work. We just know it does work. The mechanism is not understood real well. And so this is a little bit here too. Now, I'll flip into the ozone side because I train on ozone all the time.
Right.
Ozone and UBI together are synergistic. They work together. And I have a whole, if your listeners want to go to YouTube, ozone and UBI together. If they type that in, I'll pop up. And it was a company called Vasogen. They spent $225 million venture capital up in Canada about 10, well, now it's getting to be almost 20 years ago they started. But they were going through FDA trials with this, adding ozone, UBI, and heat, or heat shock proteins. And what they did is they put together what they call process patents. Now, the nice thing about process patents is I can see exactly what they did, how long they did it, on what they did it, whether it's rats, mice, beagles, people, you know.
Yeah.
Well, after studying about 100 hours on that, I got a pretty good idea that ozone and UBI, for the most part, should be used together. They're synergistic therapies. Once you have blood up into saline, all you have to do is add the ozone there and drip that back to the patient. So the two together are a great combination therapy. Either of them alone is a good therapy. The two together are better.
Yeah, that's and that's a lot of what we do here within our clinic. I mean, we do a combination of ozone with it. Now, you've talked about, you know, with treatment, but what are your thoughts specifically then for even just preventative? I mean, on a preventative measure.
Yeah, you know, and occasionally I'll get one done, and I don't feel any different. A lot of people don't. You know, preventative would be if you have a virus or if you have the start of a compromise of some kind. That's where it would be preventative. I wouldn't say it's a prophylactic boost to the system, like it's really going to tune you up. If you're healthy, I wouldn't go there. If I feel like I'm coming down, or I feel like, you know, I just don't feel as good and I want something that can work with virus. We just don't have anything, Todd, that works with virus.
Yeah.
You know, you see it all over the news. There's no treatment for COVID. They go, yes, there is.
Yes.
You aren't listening.
We didn't say that. We didn't.
That's okay. But your patients, you know, they can come in if they're concerned, if they're not feeling good, if something is coming on. And, you know, this is kind of a crazy time where some doctors' offices are shut down because they don't want COVID patients coming in, which I understand because there's staff concern. You know, it still is the flu. It's just a little more virulent. It's a little more spreadable, you know. So it causes more problems with people. I'm supposed to be locked down in Florida. I must admit, I go ride my bike and still go to the grocery.
As long as you're keeping some distance, you know, you're keeping the distance. So, I mean, to say that you can't go outside, I think would be
counterproductive.
Yeah. But as long as you're keeping that 6 feet, you're good, getting some energy out there. But, you know, we have been helping patients, I mean, on a prevention, we've been doing some ozone for that, just to help to balance that homeostasis, help to create that cellular immunity to boost up. I mean, if we even just think of the natural state of the health in America today, I mean, I think that's a big one. Most people are chronically ill. I mean, that's just, it's kind of a given. And so, again, we do these things to help to facilitate and to rebalance kind of that homeostasis within the body. That's why Regenerative Treatment Centers is here in Kansas City. That's why I wanted to bring this to you. I'm going to go through some more questions. This has been fun because I love it. We just get to kind of go off on our own.
Sure.
I make these questions, but half the time I don't even stick with them. And you're like, why'd you give them to me?
That's quite all right.
Yeah. But kind of going to this, we've already talked about just some of the common conditions, I guess, a little bit. We've talked about, all right. One of the points that you made, even you mentioned like MS or even Parkinson's. I think a lot of people don't realize that those typically stem from a viral infection. It just depends on where that infection is actually affecting the body. Have you seen that kind of in what you've done through clinicals and training doctors and speaking with doctors as well?
If we get into the heavier neurological, like Parkinson's, ALS, Alzheimer, this isn't the therapy, and I go, there's other good books out there that talk about that there are things you can do. End of Alzheimer's by Bredesen was very, very good. Tom O'Brien, How to Fix Your Brain, very, very good. I mean, those are the kind of things, if somebody's heading toward that, which sometimes I feel like I am. I forgot his name.
Hey, anyway. I'm 30. I'm going to be 39, and I feel like that too. So I think I've got to.
There you go. A couple of good books.
Right.
But the ozone UBI is more of a disorder in your body that's occurring. The Lyme patients find this as a good starting point, but it's not an ending point.
Right.
It just helps them kind of get back into, their routines and able to do things again, to even think again.
Right.
But chronic EBV, the Epstein-Barr virus, any of the MRSA stuff, the stuff that's antibiotic resistant, we wanted to do a study on that. And we still do it. Maybe that's where this is going to bring us.
Right.
So, your patients out there, they've got things going on. They've tried other things. I mean, This is just an excellent thing to try again and say, how is this helping? You'll find this big gamut. And that's maybe the problem too. It's too good to be true.
Right. I mean, that's like almost any new, I say alternative treatment. I don't even like to call it alternative, just because the truth is, to me, the alternative is moving into the drugs, moving into the surgeries. Those should be the last resort. It's giving people the opportunity to understand that there are things that are out there. They may not be aware of them, which is why we're doing this, why I've created this video cast to bring awareness, to say, hey, there are some steps we can take to recreate that homeostasis. And I don't think you know this about me. The reason why I started Regenerative is because my wife with her chronic Lyme disease. So she was bedridden. She was having seizures daily. We went through the traditional medical route. We went through everything, and we drained our savings. It wasn't until we actually found regenerative therapies through stem cell treatment. I mean, she went from bedridden and seizures to rollerblading down the hill. And then that's what actually began to open up my eyes to what you're doing with UVB, with ozone. And since we've been implementing that within her, in a way, her maintenance care, we have seen massive leaps and bounds and transitions with her health improving, which has been incredible. So I want to say thank you to the service that you're doing, because, I mean, for those that are listening, this guy right here, it's crazy. I've interviewed his son, Micah, one of his 11 children. I interviewed him on ozone. And so you can go to our YouTube channel at Regenerative Treatment Centers and you can watch that. We're going to record this and we're going to put this up as well. I'm going to share it. But it's been crazy, because I was actually reading Micah's book on ozone, and then we got another book and I was reading it on the UV light and everything. I'm like, this is incredible. I mean, this has been researched for cancer. This has been researched, and like, it's blowing my mind. And I'm like, who wrote this book? And I'm like, Tom Lowe. I go, why does that sound familiar? I'm like, oh yeah, father and son. I go, it's like the perfect combination. So number one, I want to say thank you for what you're doing, because the service that you're doing, and even training doctors in a way of full circle, has actually come to our clinic and helped my own family and helped my wife. And so, I don't know if you get thanked enough. I think you should. But I want to say thank you for what you're doing out there. And
appreciate that.
You are, I mean, you are creating a path, and it's not just one. My mission has always been, not one-on-one, but one-to-many. And I think that's what's so incredible, is what you're doing is you're teaching many people how to be able to get this. Because if you can teach and train, 350, 450 doctors to then treat 300, 400 people, that's where we start to get a movement. And, and I think that's incredible. So thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. It's a blessing to be in the position to be able to do that. And, it's you guys that are out there that are on the front lines. I mean, I'm kind of in the background. We want to give you all the support. We want to give you the training that's there. And I really enjoy tinkering and trying new things and pushing the envelope a little bit. And there's obviously been really good people in the ozone. We've kind of taken another step with a high dose treatment that's a little easier than the 10 pass treatment, if some of your people have heard that. So, we're just looking to say, what can we do to supply you guys so you can give your patients what they need? And so I've got my son John works with me and has worked with me. We have a CE medical device in Europe. That's the one we're looking at maybe testing in the UK right now. And so John took over a veterinarian Ozone and UBI. Oh, wow. And Micah, of course, with the ozone. Matt, my son, worked with me for years till he passed away. And then now Tim is coming in, who is a brilliant 40-year-old entrepreneur, businessman. So he's kind of letting me, I was going to say relax a little bit. Hey, it's still 4 or 5 o'clock at the campsite. I want to get out, So the beach is 100 yards behind me. Okay.
Oh boy.
We do get out. We rode the beach today on the bikes, and or yesterday. Today we did a 5-mile bike ride. So yeah.
You're making us here in Kansas City a little bit jealous.
It's going to be down the high tomorrow, 70. Today's 85.
Well, that's too bad, man.
I know. I'm suffering.
We're hitting 60s right now, so that's good. I mean,
that's great.
We're getting there.
I'll get to Michigan, yeah.
Right.
Your patients really ought to try this if they have not. And again, there's some out-of-pocket pay, so there's costs there, but nothing compared to what people are seeing in the healing side of it. It is what cost health somewhat. But they can read the booklet. You've got the booklets down there, pass those out, and they find, I've got a sister, a coworker, a friend. They should try this.
Absolutely.
This one of the slam dunks I'll give you, which is it's shingles up flare-ups. I mean, it's like one treatment with UBI, and in 2 days it's quieted and gone.
Wow.
It's 100%, it seems. So
it's amazing.
I hear this all over, but there's your body flare-up, right? Immunocompromised because you've got the herpes virus in there, and you're depressed a little bit, but this just brings it right out. And so you don't have to have the neuropathy of the stuff that goes on for months. I mean, now on my side, we give the machine as a UV machine. The shingle shot is worth, you want to take a guess?
I have no idea.
$1 billion in the United States per year.
Wow.
So, we don't wave big flags saying, too much. We want to stay on this nice level where we're helping the people just as you do. Yeah. They're aware of this. They understand it, but you've got some tools in your office now that can really, really, really help people. And hopefully this will encourage them to give you a call.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And Tom, I mean, I think we've hit every question without even asking the questions. We've been able to go through it. And so I just want to say thank you again. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your heart, your passion. It is amazing, in this world, how we become connected with people, And I think that's one thing that I think we all need to be able to continue to have, even in the midst of the chaos and what's happening right now in the world. Is there's options, there's opportunities to help our bodies heal, to regenerate, and to create movements. And I think right now we're in a very big, a health revolution. People are starting to look at their health in a whole different light than what they once did. And I'm super excited. I'm thankful for you to come on here. The quote that I always love, it's Ralph Waldo Emerson says, do not go where the path may lead, but create your own path. and leave a trail for others to follow. And I feel that you are doing that, and you're doing it generationally, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Through your family. And I just pray that I can have that same opportunity as my children grow, and that we can instill that there is hope with our health as well. And so thank you, Tom, so much for your time today. And I'm going to get this out so that people can start watching it and hopefully build some hope for them during this time and give them new opportunities and new options for their health and wellness. So this is Dr. Adam Boonder with the Health Rebellion. Tom, thank you. Y'all have a blessed day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. All right. Take care.
Bye.